We do not necessarily have a culture around athletics, long distance running, yet we are, we are good in this. In America, there's a culture around marathons, like the people who are fanatics, they'll go city to city. We don't have this. And of course, there's the issue of we don't have competitive races in Kenya. But how can we start building our cultural identity? Because Kenya is recognized for running, that's one of the things that people from outside recognize Kenya for. How do we start building a cultural identity through athletics? Wahome.
Man, it's tough. It's not an easy. I mean, the thing about it too is those are obviously two different sports. There's something about rugby that's just there's more flair to it. There's more action to it, right? You're all in a stadium watching together, right? So I feel like the approach has to be looked at differently. Like if you try to say turn, a Boston Marathon into like a Rugby 7 LA when we go to LA or when we go to Vegas type of thing, it's going to be different. I think it's two different animals. The way I view it, so number one, let's just take stock in the fact that we know we're going to be winning. How about that, right? Rugby, yeah, we might do well. No one is putting money on Kenya overall, right? In running, we know we're going to be winning. So that's just one thing to take stock in, right? And then what I've seen in the past, and Ruth knows this, Ali, you two haven't been part of this, they tend to be more, our events tend to be more family events. Like you see people dress up, they all show up all cleaned up, nice as a family, taking pictures and everything. So perhaps that's the angle to look at and and tell ourselves this is one event where we show up, for our country, and we know like we have people who won't let us down. They're going to be winning, and let's own it. Let's make it our own. But I think if you try to directly translate it into what you see at rugby sevens, you might just get disappointed. Those are two different animals. You're not going to see a lot of people being hyped and a little tipsy at most of our events. You won't see a lot of that, right? So maybe let's just acknowledge these are two different events. Even the athletes, look at the guys, look at Kelvin, look at even Eliud Kipchoge. The temperament, right,
is very different.
There's a difference there with the rugby dudes, right? So maybe that's just something to keep in mind. Like these are two different sports. But, the athletes have different. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No. I was gonna say I think Kenyans would adjust accordingly. Because there are those people, and there's that fraternity that would definitely enjoy rugby, and there's that fraternity, or there are those individuals who would also enjoy athletics. Case in point, I won't even go far. My brother over here.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, he loves rugby. Oh, and my other brother over there in an undisclosed location somewhere in Uko kwa gun-toting Virginians for lovers. Kama yuko akananisikiza.
He heard you.
Oh, he heard me.
Yeah. He did.
There is, but there's also that also, like, again, this is Kenya. Kenya is coming, is participating. You have individuals who are running. They're not running for AFC Leopards, Amagor. They're representing Kenya.
Yeah.
Amongst others. We are good at this. We dominate. Coming to show support would be awesome. Even if you are tipsy in the after the race,
you have to add that.
But it's okay, because guess what? They will do that in celebratory.
Yeah.
Yes, Ruth.
Yeah. Let me, and I wish, and maybe Wahome, we can talk more about how the finish line is like at the bus. I used to go for the vibe at the finish line, right?
It's
so
electric.
It's electric. Like you're seeing the runners come. So I think the difference between the marathon and rugby. I went to rugby once and I was like, okay, I've done this. Check off, done, right? But like the Boston Marathon, I went every year. Even after the bombing, I remember like the year after the bombings, there were like 5 of us. Like it was, people are just afraid to go because I guarantee you guys, if that thing had gone off like 15 or 30 minutes before time, Kenyans would have been casualties. Yeah. Because we were right at the finish line. Yeah. You know, so let me
and then they bounced. And then after the Kenyans finished, Kenyans bounced.
And by the way, we don't bounce immediately. We stay a bit. After the national anthem has been sung, we kind of, linger, talk, and then we start coming up with people to pretend are happy. Where are we going?
You see my point exactly. Right? You start popping trunks over there.
Yeah. So
Kiroro.
I have to say, but the nature of the game is that, like, number one, it's in the morning for the most part.
Very early.
Very early. Yeah. So and so like drinking is kind of frowned around upon a lot around that time. I'm talking about the Boston Marathon, and I think this can replicate to other marathons, right? Then the other part is, it's so drinking might not be like I did say, because people do go to the stadium for the most part because they want to have the happy side of it. Yeah. But this is how I look at it. Depending on where you're coming from. Yeah. I would watch the start from my house, or when I, like the when they start running, because it's 2 hours for them to get to Boston, right? So and they start in Hopkinton. Yeah. They will start at 8 or 10 something. So when they start, and then I get in the car and drive to Boston, get parking, and be by the finish line in good time to watch them come now.
So how do you make it to the finish line? Because, and this is me as a stranger, I've gone to Boston so many times, but I get so confused because I think they block some of the metro stations that go towards the finish line. Yeah. So there's an art to getting towards the finish line.
Yes. Okay. So if you're driving in, drive to Boston Common and then walk down.
Now, I think this right here needs to have instructions. Remember, like how we used to have instructions for rugby sevens? Yeah. And I think that's what perfected the rugby, is that there were instructions. People knew, like what was happening. We land on Thursday. This is what happens. So I think what happens a lot of times in Boston is people who go there, they don't know what to do. Do I catch an Uber? Do I take the metro?
So in other words, what you're saying is like what you used to do and have a to-do list for Vegas. Yes. Ruth comes up with a list of what to do, step by step, play by play, whatever, for Boston Marathon. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, for Boston Marathon, and also include the non-marathon events. So one of the non-marathon events is of course the dinner with champions, which is one of the main events. There might be some other events, that
I mean, that's when Chris used to host the parties.
Yes.
Was around that weekend.
But I'm saying even if like there are DJs who are coming, and maybe that's something that Wahome can fill us in on, because I don't know what locally people are planning in Massachusetts. Yeah. So if there's like a program, if there's a schedule, then I think that's gonna work well. Like when someone sees that, they're like, okay, I think I'm gonna book my ticket. Wahome.
Yeah, well, we will have, speaking of DJs, we're going to have DJ Foreign, Gemini 945. He's from the Boston area, you know him. And then what happens is there are things that go on, like on the periphery, on the kind of like sidelines. That Saturday when we do dinner with champions. But what I've, wanted guys to do is, instead of reinventing the wheel, I'd rather the people that own the nightlife do that. For me, we stretch too thin doing this dinner with champions. Yeah. But happy to like team up. Anybody that wants to, own the nightlife, own a couple other events,
or even the day event on Sunday. Because Sunday is gonna be a whole day.
Yeah, and I remember actually someone used to do that. I think his name is the guy from Ajabu Media, Harrison. Yeah. He used to do a lunch. Was it Sunday? Yeah. It used to be a Sunday thing, lunch by the finish line. Or it might have been the Monday after the marathon, because the marathon is on Monday. Yeah. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like from that whole Saturday, Sunday, and the actual day, Monday, it would be nice to just pack it with the van. So that's why that way it's worth a while. If you've traveled in, if you have flown in for this event, it's it's good use of your time.
And you also know what you're looking forward to, because I think it's very vague. I remember when I wanted to go to the New York Marathon, I was like, okay, so I'll go to the finish line. Then after
what?
that, then what, right? And then it can feel as if like there's no reason for me to go for just the finish, because the only place to actually enjoy this thing is at the finish line, right?
Yeah.
And it's gonna be maybe 2 hours of your time, and then that's it, right? And not unless you hook up with other people and go hang out or go celebrate together. That's about it, right? But I think if we put these events together, and I do think that's a really good tidbit you just gave, that put a schedule. What happens? Where can you plug into? If you're in town for the weekend,
if you're coming on Friday, or if you're coming on Saturday,
or
where
Saturday,
can you plug into?
Because I think that is the other thing that people just don't know, and also because they don't know. If you don't know people in a city, then you'll not know where to go.
No,
and if you're only waiting for Monday, because I will say, when we used to show up, it was a ton of Kenyans. It was really deep Kenyans who will show up, and then I need to kind of explain the excitement. I normally say I drank the Kool-Aid and I'm selling it to people, right? It's so exciting, electrifying. You see the athletes coming on the jumbo screen, and they have their names written by them, and when they win, they sing, they play the national anthem, and it's, for me, it was like, I can sing that national anthem. It's not like something I don't know, and I'm just so proud to be Kenyan at that point. And can I also say, the people around who are not Kenyans, they actually want to join in the fun as well. So it's not
you become popular as a Kenyan.
Exactly. You're so popular. People want to be part of you. Like, can I be a Kenyan for today? Like, yeah, sure, you're welcome.